My dear friends, let me introduce to you. I'm Father Philip Chua. I'm the Ecclesiastical Assistant of Archdiocese Mental Health Ministry. I'm also a registered and licensed counselor of the Board of Counselors in Malaysia. Today I'm going to share with you the topic on understanding trauma. What is trauma? The term trauma is used to describe an event, series of events, or set of circumstances that is experienced as physical or emotionally harmful, or even life-threatening, which overwhelms our ability to cope. Trauma has lasting adverse effects on a person's mental, physical, social, emotional, or spiritual well-being. Now, what are the types of trauma? It can be natural disaster coming from flood, fire, typhoon, hurricanes, or human-caused disaster like accidents, wars, environmental disaster, community violence like robberies, shooting, hate crimes, group trauma affecting a particular community, or in school violence like fighting, bullying, loss of a student or a staff member, or even some threats occur in the school. In family trauma like family abuse, neglect, experiencing or witnessing domestic violence, which is very common in our society, detention or imprisonment of a family member, family substance abuse, certain or unexpected loss of a loved one, or in refugee and immigrant trauma, exposure to war, political violence, torture, forced displacement, migration stresses, fears of deportation. In medical trauma like people going through pain, injury or serious illness like terminal illness, cancer, or some invasive medical procedures or treatments. Poverty like lack of resources, support networks, or mobility, financial stresses, homelessness. What are the effects of trauma? I list down here a couple of effects. Cause people insomnia, chronic pain, breathing problems, heart palpitation, tension, digestive problems, chronic fatigue, autoimmune disorder, increased feeling anxious, and difficult to maintain happiness. Now, when there is a traumatic stress, there's a reaction to this event. Physical response can be trembling, pounding heart, rapid breathing, lump in throat, racing thoughts, and stomach tightening. What are the signs of traumatic stress? First one would be shock and disbelief. You may have a hard time accepting the reality of what happened. You can have fear that the same thing will happen again, or that you will lose control or break down. Helplessness. The sudden, unpredictable nature of violent crime, accidents or natural disaster may leave you feeling vulnerable and helpless. Guilt. that you survived the others die, or that you could have done more to help that person to live, but instead the person died. You might have anger. You may be angry at God or others you feel are responsible. Shame, especially over feelings or fears you can't control. Relief. You may feel relief that the worst is over, and even helpful that your life will return to normal. Now there are two triggers. One is reminders and one is responses. Reminders of past traumatic experiences that automatically cause the body to react as if the traumatic event is happening again in that moment. And the responses can appear confusing and out of place and be misunderstood by others. Now there are two triggers we need to pay attention. One is internal and the other is external. Internal can be a person when encounter stress, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, a racing heart, anger, sadness, feeling lonely, feeling abandoned, frustration, feeling out of control, pain and tension. Whereas for external, especially going to a specific location that reminds them of a traumatic event. For example, the person caused accident at that junction of the road. Whenever the person passed through that junction, it will trigger external to them. Or when there is an anniversary date for marriage, for birthday, and that person will trigger again the past event. A violent movie, a particular smell that is connected to a past trauma, a particular interaction, or maybe money problems, sexual harassment, a particular time of day, for example, at the sunset, that person drowned. So you remember that particular time of the day. So, my dear friends, how do we move on from trauma? As a counselor and psychotherapist, I will recommend to practice relaxation techniques like breathing techniques, like doing mindfulness, meditation, prayer, will help you to relax yourself and avoid unhealthy behaviors like taking drugs, alcohol, etc. And also become aware of the triggers when you come across a particular moment of time or you pass by that location, for example the shop that you celebrate the birthday or the anniversary. So be aware of your trigger and also have someone to talk with when you recall back the past trauma. You can talk to your trusted friends or go to talk to your counselor or psychotherapist. Keep a journal. It's important to write down the feelings, the event they have been going through in your life. Also engage in regular exercise. Exercise will help you to develop endorphin in your body and will make you happy. Read self-help books to add new coping strategies. So you need to have some input of knowledge to move on in your life. Practice mindfulness. Psychotherapists and counselors went through a lot of researches and confirmed that mindfulness will help us to move on from trauma. Practice self-soothing. Practice deep breathing. All these are very easy for us. When you focus on your breathing, breathe in and breathe out, just focus on breathe in, breathe out will help you to remain calm and less stressful. So other than this self-help, you can go for psychotherapy if you are encounter difficulty like complex trauma or post-traumatic stress disorder. All this psychotherapy will help you to treat your trauma. Especially, you need to go to see your psychotherapist or counselor when this trauma has prevented you of living a healthy life of well-being. In my practice as a psychotherapist, I major in eyes movement desensitization and reprogramming. We call it EMDR. It's a relative new treatment that has been found to reduce the symptom of PTSD. It involves making side-to-side eyes movement, usually by following the movement of your therapist's finger while recalling the traumatic incidents. And by going through this psychotherapy, clients will be healed from the trauma, especially PTSD, that is post-traumatic stress disorder. Other than that, you may go to see psychiatrists as well for medication. So all this trauma need to be healed if you cannot move on your life. So my dear friends, I recommend you to take care of yourself when you encounter all this traumatic experience. For further help, you may go to our Art Doesn't Mental Health Ministry for help. We have the e-counseling or psychological consultation appointment by using this Google link, or you can contact to our center in KL that is located in FTC 5th floor or at Kajang Life Journey Wellness Center, and we will try our best to help you. So my dear friends, I hope this video will help us to understand better what is trauma, what is trauma, so that when we encounter trauma, we know how to move on, how to seek for help. Thank you very much for your attentive listening, and God bless you all.